Hi guys, John from B&B Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your new venture. It's a Moniche, is the actual model of it. So it's based on the Ford Transit Custom, a small version of it basically. Or Connect, actually, Connect, not Custom, my bad. So yeah, smaller version of the Transit basically. So under the bonnet, nice and clean, nice and tidy, easy to get to lots of lots of the consumable bits and pieces, which is always handy. So you've got your engine coolant reservoir just here on the left hand side, alongside the power steering reservoir there. Then got the engine oil filling point just here, as you can see, nice and clean, no sort of water or anything like that in that engine whatsoever. You then got your engine oil dipstick with the yellow top just there at the front. Brake fluid just there at the top. Air filter will sit inside this box just here, and your engine battery is just here at the very front. Washer fluid goes in this little bit just there. You can see there, full to the top, and obviously had its service recently as well. You have got the turbo intercooler just here. You don't have to be too careful around this. I mean, obviously be careful around the whole engine anyway, but the intercooler will just be drawing in cool air. So it's got a little radiator there to cool the air down before it goes down into the turbo, which is what this whole section here is for, if you were wondering. So on the near side just here, if I open up this front door, not much to show you, to be completely honest. Got a nice, good sized bit of storage in there. The window, electric window, just there. The gas locker in this particular van is inside the vehicle, just in here, which is why the sticker is there. Just so that you know, I will show you how to get to that in just a minute. This vent just here is for the heater, so I'll show you how to use that when we get inside, but that there is the vent for that, in case you were wondering what that was for. You then got your electric hookup point, so 240 volt electric. If you want anything that works on the mains to work, you need to have this plugged in basically. So that'll be any 240 volt plug sockets in the vehicle, and the battery charger is going to be powered by the mains as well. You've then got your wastewater drain off point just here, so you can see that completely empty at the moment, and you can put it back up and turn it off just like that, nice and easy. You've then got these two vents just here, or in fact 3 vents here, all to do with the fridge. So the only one you really need to sort of keep your eye on, or might need to touch, is this one just here, which is the vent for the flue. So the actual flame itself for the fridge sits around here inside, and comes up here and comes out through the top. So if you wanted to double check that the fridge was definitely lit on gas, you can put your hand over this here and just feel the hot air coming out. Right, so the step is manual. So to use that, as easy as that, lift it up a little bit at the front and it will then just pull itself back in. Nice and easy. You've got the D-bar security lock just there, which you just pull this little handle down and then you'll be able to pull the whole D-bar around to wherever you want it. On the off side here, you've got the freshwater drain off point just there. So exactly the same as the waste, just fresh water instead of wastewater. Above that, we've got your toilet cassette locker. So in this particular case, you've got a flush system to think about as well. So you've got a gauge on the left hand side here, which tells you how much flush fluid you have left in the system. You want it to be anywhere between there and about halfway up, and you fill it up from here. You can use your pre-mixed pink fluid to go in there, and that is the flush system. And the actual cassette itself comes out really easy. Lift up on the green tab there, and then you can pull the cassette out all the way. All you need to know from there is that you've got the handle which pulls out from here, nice and easy, like that. And that when you drain it out from there, you should be holding down the little green button at the back. And there you go. Your diesel filling point is just here, not to be confused with the fresh water filling point next door to that. So fresh water goes in just there, and the diesel just behind it. Right, so I'm just going to jump in the cab quickly so I can show you what we've got going on in here. So the cab itself is pretty straightforward, if I'm honest. So you've got the 5-speed manual gearbox, the doubled-in sized factory-fitted Ford stereo system with the CD and auxiliary functionality on that. Hazard warning lights, has the button for it up here in the middle of the dash. You've got the horn is on the actual centre of the steering wheel, indicators, washers and wipers, and then your lights come on from down here. You have got access to using both windows from this switch just here, or you can use the other one there manually on the door. You've got a 12-volt socket just down there, and yeah, there's various little bits of storage, little cubby holes. That's it really. The bonnet release handle on these Transits, if I try and open the door without hitting it, the bonnet release handle is actually cleverly behind this little cover here. So if you want to pull the bonnet, you need to put the key in there. Nearly all Transits are like that, to be honest, apart from the newer ones. Okay, so I'll just jump inside the vehicle now so we can show you more exciting stuff. So you can see lots of really nice lights in these little new Ventures. Even though they're a very small vehicle, you know, they do build them really, really well, always have done. So I'll start up here with the control panel. Sorry, it's a little bit dark, but this is your typical new Venture control panel, so a PC200. So really simple to use. You've got a main on and off switch up here. Once you've turned that on, that will then give you power to anything that works on the main, the 12-volt basically. So you've got your 12-volt lights. So you've got lights all over the place. Most of them, or in fact probably all of them, have got their own switches on them. So you know, you will have to go through and just sort of figure out which ones you do and you don't like. If there's any you don't like, just obviously leave them switched off. But there you go. So that's your main lights. So you've got these two switches just here for your lights. So power switch and these two here. That will then give you power to every light in the vehicle. You've then got this other switch here, which is for your water pump. Once you've turned that on, it is cold water only, so there's no boiler in this vehicle. So once you've got that on, you will have pressurized water coming out through the tap. There you go. So there's good pressure there. And drop this side down now. There you go. Okay, so on the left-hand side of the control panel, we've got the temperature internal and external. You've then got the leisure battery voltage and vehicle battery voltage, because you know which one it is because you've got a Caravan here, so that's the leisure voltage, and then the vehicle battery voltage. And this one here is going to tell us the fresh and wastewater levels. So you've got 8% in the waste, 70% in the fresh. The tank 2 there isn't going to be wired up, so don't try and ignore this one that says 100%. So there you go. But that's your control panel there, nice and straightforward. I will now just quickly show you where the gas is, because that's going to be the kind of, if I show you other stuff now, it'll be pointless. Right, so I'll lift this seat up, take the cushion out of the way. Okay, so we've got this little section here that lifts up by itself, which then reveals, a little bit awkward to do with one hand, but we'll get there eventually, then reveals the gas locker. So what you've got in here, if I can just get down and show you, you've got 2 of these 4.5 kilo propane bottles in here. Now, really simple how to use these bottles. You go anti-clockwise around to the left, we'll turn the bottle on. Clockwise around to the right, we'll turn the bottle off. Generally speaking, you have 5 years on these pigtail hoses, so there will be a date on here, so it'll say date of manufacturer on it. Actually can't quite see it in here, just now it will be on there somewhere. Product date, what does that say there? Come on, focus on it. Product date 2023. Okay, so you've got till 28 on that pigtail hose there to replace that. It's not so much a law thing, it's just that it's highly recommended. But yeah, so that's all you need to remember really, on and off from there. All of this stuff here on the actual regulator, you don't need to worry about that at all, because that's just for testing. But yeah, that's it, that's the gas locker. So I will just leave that exposed for a minute so I'll remember to turn it off when I'm finished. So that's the gas just down there. Once you've turned that gas on, you will then be able to use the 2-burner hob, the grill underneath, the gas on the fridge, and the space heater as well. Okay, so you will need to turn the gas on to do any of those things. The fridge you can use on mains electric as well, I will just point that out, but you know, for the majority of the time you're going to want to come into the van, switch your gas on, close that cupboard back up again, and then you can just basically do anything you like. Okay, so the 2-burner hob and the grill, you've got ignition here. Let me just double check that the grill has got that igniter as well. Let me just see. Can't quite see from down here, to be honest with you, but I would have to double check that. It probably will say on the habitation sheet. I didn't do the specific hab check on this one, so I wouldn't be surprised if it has got the ignition down there on the grill as well, but I just can't quite see it down here with one hand, you know, being used. Anyway, so you've got the ignition up here. You do need to have this door open when you're using the grill. That's really important, because it will need to ventilate from the front and through up here. But you know, that I don't tend to run through that very much, because it's just like a household cooker. There's nothing specifically technical about it, it's just the same. I don't even need to tell you, normally when they've got the glass lid, I have to explain how you need to leave all this to cool down, but because you've got this metal lined wood, it doesn't really matter so much. But still, obviously, if you've been using this, try your best to allow it to cool down a little bit, especially if you've been using the grill for a while, because the amount of heat that comes out through these little vents here is quite impressive. So it's always a good thing to just remember. Just try and leave this to cool down a little bit, and then close the lid down. But there you go, nice and easy. Bathroom, just because it's just behind us here. Not much to it, if I'm completely honest, because you've normally, if you've got the hot water version, I mean the bigger version of this van really, because they can't have the boilers in these ones really because they're so small. But you would have a sink up here separate if you had the hot water as well. But so you know, this one really is just literally a bathroom. So a toilet. So you've got the bench seat style Thetford cassette in here, so it's the bigger cassette, which is always nice. So you press the blue button down here, and that will pump around the flush fluid that I showed you on the outside. Pull this towards us, and that drains it into the cassette, and then push it back. And there you go. That is how you use the toilet. Doesn't get much easier than that. You have got a light in here as well. Switch that off for now. Okay, so you have got TV over here, which is all wired up. Now, we don't tend to run through the TVs because it's not, you know, that's not part of the habitation check whatsoever. It's more of like a aftermarket kind of thing. But, you know, I've got no doubt that it all works as it should. So have a go with it. So the fridge is probably the next best thing to show you. So, okay, I will just point one thing out. We did notice on the hab check, or Billy noticed, that to get the ignition to work on here, you do need to have the lights switched on up there. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean you have to have any lights on. It just means that you need to have those 3 switches that I showed you, the top right main power switch and the 2 light switches, in order to have this power going to the ignition. So just basically a little pointer. If you ever come to this and realise that it's not, you know, not igniting, it's probably because you haven't got the light switch switched on. Anyway, so what we've got in this particular style of fridge, this is a Dometic fridge. It's really simple how you use it. So if you want to light it up on the gas, you press the ignition to on, and then push in and round to the left on this little bit here, and it will light up down there. You can see the little blue flame in there now, in the little peephole. Now I've let go of that, and the ignition has gone out. So that proves to me that the fridge is lit because the igniter's gone out, but I can also physically see it down there in the peephole anyway. So that's when, like I was saying on the outside, you can put your hand over that vent to just double check, but you know, you don't have to do that. You can physically see it in there anyway. So that's how you light it up on the gas. You have got a temperature gauge, or like a little gauge here, 1 to 5. Just, you know, if you find it gets too cold, you can just turn it down a little bit. So that is that, nice and easy. If you want to turn the gas off, turn this back to the off position. The igniter starts flashing at you again, telling you that that the flame's gone out. Turn the igniter off, and that's it. Gas is off. If you wanted to use it on the electric instead of the gas, if you had a mains cable plugged in, you can use the green switch just here, and that'll basically just start cooling the fridge down via the mains cable. And if you've already pre-cooled the fridge and you want to keep the fridge cold whilst you drive, you can select the red 12-volt switch, which draws power directly from the engine basically, and that's only really for keeping the fridge cold as you drive. So down here in this cupboard, you've got your gas isolator taps down here. So you've got the hob, the fridge and the heater. So if you wanted to isolate the gas from any of those specific appliances, you can do it from there. A little bit of storage in here. That's the D-bar paperwork. Okay, so if I just budge this out of the way a sec. Okay, so the last appliance to show you, I'm just going to turn this light off because it's right in my face, is the Trumatic E. So the Trumatic E is just a heater, as I said, it's just heating only, and it's also just on gas. So assuming that we've got the gas switched on, we can heat the van up by going down 1 or down 2. And that basically, you can hear it straight away. It starts to heat the van up basically. It just lights up on the gas and it will start to pump around hot air. Now you've got two options there. You've got small flame and big flame, and that really is as simple as it sounds. It will light up like it has just done then, and after about 30-40 seconds or so, you'll have hot air. Okay, so because it's such a small vehicle, it won't take long to actually heat up, which is why they fit these kind of smaller heaters in these. But it will work perfectly well. You won't struggle with the heating whatsoever. Alternatively, if it's really hot outside and you can't quite get any air coming through the van, although you have got a massive, great big Hecky skylight up here, so you shouldn't struggle too much with that. But if you do want a little bit of cool air pumping around, you can just go up, and either up 1 or up 2 is fan only, and simple as it sounds, it will just basically start pumping around cool air. So that is the heater there, the Trumatic E. Really simple little heater, but also very reliable, and we don't tend to get any issues with those. So there you go. So I'm trying to think if I've missed anything out, but to be fair, it is quite a small vehicle, so it's not a huge amount to run through. So if there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you'd like going over again, just let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.